The United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change puts out a major climate summary of all the climate science that has been accumulated over the last several years, and that is coming out tomorrow. It's a major deal. It will be the basis on which an international climate treaty will be negotiated in the next 2 years on the United Nations level. And this report essentially is going to continue to forward the ideas that were in the past IPCC reports from previous years, but go a little bit further. So just to get to this out right off the bat, first, the IPCC climate report, this is based on leaked drafts. They are going to finalize them tomorrow, but it's expected that the main conclusions will remain the same. First, the IPCC declares that 95% certainty that humans are responsible for more than half of the observed increase in global average surface temperatures from 1951 to 2010. Some other major conclusions that they have that aren't that far off from their previous reports, but nonetheless emphasize and confirm previous findings that we can expect. They expect a range of temperatures in the next century to go up 1.5 degrees Celsius to 4 degrees Celsius. That works out to be about 6 degrees Fahrenheit. And also predicting a 10-inch to 3 feet sea level rise by 2100. One of the things that I think is really important to note that this is a draft report, but a lot of climate scientists have said since the leaked drafts have come out that they appear to have taken out the outlying studies that show impacts on the high end of the IPCC predictions, but yet have included the results on the low end of the impacts. Jimmy, just wanted to get you in on this as well. What do you think?
When they say 95% certainty, what is that other 5%? You know what I mean? What is that? It turns out might all be bullshit, but we're pretty sure it's not. I don't understand that how they come up with that percentage. But when I tell people is because, I like to spend a lot of time on Facebook doing what I call unconstructive arguing. And a lot of people will say, what I tell people is I don't debate climate scientists or climate change. For the same reason I don't debate evolution. That debate has already happened. It's happened among climate scientists, and they've all concluded that climate change is happening and that we're the cause of it. So that's why I don't, getting into it. I'm not a climate scientist, but all the they'll say, well, what about this guy? And then my next statement is, can you name one national or international respected organization that agrees with this scientist? And there isn't one. There is not one national or international group of scientists that disagrees with climate change is man-made.
Right. Every single National Academy of Science, every single research organization across the world,
not one.
In fact.
Not one. There's not one that disagrees with it. So there might be a couple of crazies out there who write a paper, but none of the science is happening on their side. It's all happening in the other way. And so it's interesting that they would get rid of the forecasts that show the worst possibility, but they would keep the ones. Now, why would they do that?
Well, this is an interesting thing. Michael Mann, who is a internationally renowned climate scientist, he's the author of the very famous hockey stick graph, the one that shows temperatures going along for several thousands of years and then jumping up very high. Michael Mann, he put out an op-ed earlier today that says, it's good to see that the IPCC has moved in the right direction this time by at least trying to account for the key contribution to sea level rise from melting ice sheets. However, the projections they provide are still overly conservative, with an upper limit of roughly 1 meter by 2100, when there is published work that suggests the possibility of as much as 2 meters. I mean, that's 6 feet of sea level rise by 2100.
Is there that much ice in the world?
Yeah, actually there is. You'd be surprised. The calculations so far are that if, say, the Greenland ice sheet and the Antarctic ice sheet both melt, that it could raise sea levels by as much as 200 feet or so. Because that's what they were, they believe, in paleoclimate. That's the sea levels were about 250 feet higher back during the last interglacial.
So there was very little land back then, right?
Well, I wouldn't say very little. I would say a lot less. Coastlines were completely different.
Yes, I bet. Okay, so here's what, whenever I hear things about the climate coming out and they keep telling, it's like just more of the same. We get it. I'm on, but we all know. But so Barack Obama is instituting some policies now to try to curtail our energy emissions, right? The CO2 that is the energy plants, our coal specifically. Do you really think that anything we do will have any real effect? I don't. Now, I'm not a climate scientist, but if what they say is true, it's already, like, we should just start preparing for the effects of it instead of trying to stop it, because we're not going to stop it. We're never going to get China to stop, building more power plants and building more factories. And, it's kind of unfair. People say, well, yeah, we already have our industrial base. Now we want to stop everybody else from getting their industrial base going. So what do you say to that? What do you see for the future? Because that's really what's the matter. I say just prepare for it. Global warming's coming, seas are rising, and weather patterns are changing, so we should prepare. That's what I say.
Well, I think that is exactly what climate scientists are saying. They're like, listen, it is not too late. That's, I think, the major conclusion from most climate scientists. They're like, we are expecting a certain amount of warming in the pipeline. There is nothing we can do about it. They're not exactly sure how sensitive the climate is going to be to the 200 years of emissions that we've been dumping into our atmosphere. But they say, first of all, it is not too late. We are going to have to adapt. There are some unavoidable impacts like sea level rise. There was one really scary article in Rolling Stone that said essentially, bye-bye Miami. By the end of this century, forget it. Miami will be under 3 feet of water. We don't know. We'll see what happens. It will also impact things like, fresh water supplies when the seawater intrudes underneath your groundwater. That's going to happen even before sea level rise gets to be an issue for coastal infrastructure. But
sounds like an exciting time.
It's going to be one of those things where we have to do all three different things. In President Obama's June 25th big climate change speech, he mentioned three different things. First of all, we have to reduce emissions, and they've been doing quite a bit policy-wise and via executive orders to start that process going. It is not going to be enough. Then secondly, in his climate speech, he said we have to brace for impact. In other words, preparing for the impacts that we know are going to be unavoidable, and the ones beyond that, especially the extreme weather events and the sort of the resilience of our system to being able to handle that. So there are movements forward to doing adaptation. There was a big climate meeting this week, several different conferences of high-level business leaders, technology leaders, government leaders, all getting together to talk about the opportunities that are available when addressing the climate challenge, such as clean energy, innovation, resilience, infrastructure hardening, that all of those are actually going to create jobs.
Umbrellas.
There you go. I don't think an umbrella will really help you in this case. But the good news is you cannot ship your house, say, or a big road. You can't ship that to China to be hardened to stand up against extreme weather impacts. So it will, in trying to adapt to the infrastructure issues we're going to have and all the other issues that we're going to have, that these are jobs that can't be outsourced.
So you're saying that, ironically, climate change, while it will be horrific for our climate, will be a job creator.
Well, it's going to be an economic opportunity, and frankly, we don't have much of a choice.